Hi everyone on YouTube and all the NFL YouTube prognosticators and football fans everywhere. This is Andrew Warren, back here once again, giving you my thoughts about Week 12 and my picks for Week 13 for the 2025 NFL season. Check it out. First off, for my record last week, straight up was excellent. It went 10-3 overall. And then against the spread was probably one of the weirdest things that ever happened to me. I had 3 pushes in that one. And those pushes were the Colts and the Chiefs game, and the other one was the Baltimore and Jets one, and the other one was the Phillies and, Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys game. So, overall, I went 4-6-3 overall in the year. It was kind of like a strange one on the against the spread on that one. But over and under, turned it around. I went 2-1. Pretty solid on that one. But what happened last week with Buffalo, Buffalo laid an egg again, but this time with a tough competitive defense in Houston. But not to say they played bad, but they just, defensively, Houston just outplayed the Buffalo Bills really, really well. That defense is just atrocious right now. But if they can get the offense going, who knows what Houston can be. But, it is what it is. Chicago beating Pittsburgh was probably one of the most impressive victories they had this year, and was against Pittsburgh probably. And overall, they're definitely having a turning around season, like another team I'm going to be talking about, which is my next one, which is my Patriots and the Cincinnati Bengals. My Patriots are I think they're the first team to get 10 wins this year. Now they're on one of the top seeds in the AFC. I'm really proud of them with that. So, but with the loss of Will Campbell, that's going to impact probably. But, we'll have to wait and see and find out about it. But the latest on that, it's a MRI sprain. Who knows when he's coming back? But all I know is it could be worse. Detroit and the Giants got the win. The Lions got the win, excuse me. And that was a much needed win, but it just came with a high price. It goes so Detroit's defense is not that great. Green Bay and Minnesota. Green Bay just stomped Minnesota. That was just crazy on that one. But anyways, for Green Bay, I say for Green Bay's case, they're playing great offensively. I will say that. Seattle and Tennessee. Defensively, Seattle's a much solid football team as of late. The Kansas City Chiefs and the Indianapolis Colts. The Chiefs needed this win. They did get it. And then I think the message in that game was, don't count us out yet. Don't count us out yet. And they did. And they beat a top competitive team, which is the Colts. And they just did that. The Baltimore Ravens and the New York Jets. Like I mentioned, that was a push in that one, but the New York Jets need help. That's all I can say. No, the Cleveland Browns and the Las Vegas Raiders. I will say this, I'm happy for Shedeur Sanders. I'm very happy for Shedeur Sanders, even though I did pick the Raiders to win. But Shedeur Sanders coming out in his debut, just came up by storm. That was a great event. He had the locker room with him the whole time. Look what happened. I just think it's straightforward. Just keep on rolling with Shedeur Sanders, see what they can get from there. Maybe get some offensive linemen help to support him. So that's what I need to say about the Cleveland right now. But if for the Raiders, you just need help all over coaching. Pete Carroll's not your guy. They just fired Chip Kelly. And I think their defensive coordinator they fired, I think. But I can't remember on that one. But anyways, long story short, they just have a coaching situation all over. From the head coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, and special teams. And even assistant coaches, too. It just goes to show you, it's just a mess. Anyways, continuing on, Arizona and Tennessee. Jacksonville taking over by storm for Arizona. They got to win. Atlanta and New Orleans. Atlanta's coming around with the communication problems. That's what's helping them out. If they had more communication success, they probably would have won more games. But they did, The Eagles and the Cowboys, the Dallas Cowboys got an important win. They did that, but, they still need some defensive help. That's going to really hurt them in the long run. And the Buccaneers and the LA Rams, now when Baker Mayfield's injured, now the Buccaneers have an injury-prone problem. But now the Rams just stormed all over the Buccaneers because of the Baker Mayfield injury and went from there. San Francisco and Carolina. I will give Carolina credit of the doubt on this one. They did, defensively, they're playing a lot better football. Offensively, yeah, they're doing good, but they could use another weapon or two here and there to help them out. But to say the least on that one. So, but I will give credit where credit's due for Bryce Young. Carolina never gave him up. They kept him in, and they just did that. So, that case scenario, that's my thoughts about Week 12. Let's get on to my Week 13 picks. Okay, we're going to do this really quick right now. So, I'm going to have a busy schedule this coming week, especially for tomorrow, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to kick things off on the Thanksgiving specials. We're going to start off with Detroit and Green Bay. Detroit coming off a win, so is Green Bay. Division matchup. Anything can happen in division games. That's what I'm going to bring you right now. Detroit looks like they want to get a little piece of revenge on their mind after what happened early in the year with Green Bay. I think that's what's on their mind right now. They were waiting for this game. And I think that's what they're going to do with this one. But I think there's going to be an offensive shootout on this one. This is going to be a really fun one to watch. So, anyways, that being said, I'm going to take Detroit at home over Green Bay to win this game. On the line, Detroit's favored by 3 in this game. We're going to take Detroit -3. Over and under is 48. You know what? With these two offensive explosions, this could go over that. I'm going to go over 48 in this game. The Dallas Cowboys and the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, this is a much win for both teams. Both teams, they need to win to keep their playoff hopes alive. For Dallas, it's got to be for the division or at least a wild card. Kansas City, you might be playing for a wild card. Who knows what Denver can do? But anyways, we're in the home stretch of this one. This is a much win for both of these games, teams, excuse me. But this is another offensive shootout in this one because Dallas has probably one of the worst defenses in the league, and Kansas City's defense is not really the best one either. So, but I got to go with the hot hand with Patrick Mahomes. But I'm going to take the Kansas City Chiefs over Dallas to win this game. And Dallas, on the line, Kansas City's favored by 3.5 in this game. I'm going to take Kansas City -3.5. Over and under, it's 51. You know what? Same thing with Dallas and Detroit. I think it's going to be an offensive shootout. I'm going to go over 51 in this game. The Baltimore Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals on Black Friday. So, yep, we have a Black Friday game for this one on Amazon. This is the game. This game, anything can happen on situations like this. For a division matchup, Cincinnati had a loss against my Patriots last week. The Ravens got a win against Cincinnati. Now they get Jamar Chase back from his suspension. And Joe Burrow could be returning. And for them, I think there's going to be a little rust in the area for Cincinnati. So I think it's going to be a little bit of a rust situation for both of these players. That could cost Cincinnati on this one. So I'm going to take the Baltimore Ravens over Cincinnati to win this game. On the line, Baltimore is favored by 7.5 in this game. I'm going to take Baltimore -7.5. Over and under is 51 on this one. But despite the two offenses, I'm not really that trusting on that right now for both of them. You know, Lamar Jackson's coming back in his own scenario, and Baltimore is creeping up on the Pittsburgh Steelers right now, which I'll get to them in a bit. But, you know, that's saying that, you know, just like, I think there's going to be more rely on defense in this game. So I'm going to take under 51 in this game. The Philadelphia Eagles and the Chicago Bears. Now, I got to say, Chicago's been really impressive this year. I'm not going to hold any grudges how bad Chicago was over the years. So I will give them the credit of the doubt of that. But Philadelphia, offensively, they're not really the best in their Super Bowl in the year last year. But to say the least, they are winning games by defensive as well. But to say that, I think this is going to be another defensive game as well, but a little bit of a twist in this one. But I will say this. I'm going to take the Philadelphia Eagles at home over the Chicago Bears in this game. On the line, Philadelphia's favored by 7 in this game. If this line was a little lower than that, I would have gone Philadelphia in this one. But now I can't do that. I think it's going to be a very low close scoring game. But I'm going to take Chicago plus 7 on this one. They could sneak up on Philadelphia on this one. Over and under is 44.5. I will say this. I might go over 44.5 in this one. Because this could be a little bit of my twist could be this offensive could shine a bit, I think, in this one. Now, not by much, but I'm just saying it could shine in this one. So that's why I'm going to go over 44.5 in this game. Because I think this could be a little bit of a peak in that. Peak of an offensive shooting in this game. Just a bit. The Cleveland Browns and the San Francisco 49ers. Now, if I'm Shedeur Sanders, this is why you got to say this has got to be a good competitive team. San Francisco's a competitive team on this one. I would like to see that from Shedeur Sanders. He had the locker room to support. They wanted him to play. They got it. So, I think it's going to be a really close game. But I think it's going to come down to Cleveland's offensive line. If they have an offensive line, I would have gone with Cleveland at this one. But I can't because of that. But I think Shedeur Sanders is going to shine a little bit. I really think he might have maybe a stat or two a little bit more on the Las Vegas Raiders game last week. But I'm going to take San Francisco with the win over Cleveland Browns in Cleveland. But on the line, San Francisco is favored by 6 in this game. I'm going to take Cleveland plus 6. The Tennessee Titans and the Jacksonville Jaguars. For this game, Jacksonville's coming in on their own. They're trying to hang in the playoff spot. Tennessee, just trying to get another draft pick. So I'm going to take Jacksonville Jaguars over the Tennessee Titans to win this game. On the line, Jacksonville's favored by 6.5 point favorites in this game. I'm going to take Jacksonville minus 6.5. The Indianapolis Colts and the Houston Texans. Another division matchup this week. This is going to be a fun one to watch. I'm looking forward to that one. We have Indianapolis with a great offense. Houston, great defense. This is going to come down to who's going to come up on top first. Who is going to have a great game. This can go either way, but despite Houston's defense, this is where Indianapolis has to shine on that one. They haven't done that with Kansas City. They didn't do that with the LA Rams. Now you got a great defense in Houston coming up. I'm not too confident on that one. But because of that, I'm taking the upset on this one. I'm going to take the Houston Texans over the Indianapolis Colts in Indianapolis in this game. On the line, Indianapolis is favored by 4.5 in this game. I'm going to take Houston plus 4.5. The Miami Dolphins and the New Orleans Saints. Now, Miami's been playing well, but on the twist on that one, they're playing some weak teams right now. So, that's to say to that one. And they got another weak team right now in the New Orleans Saints, who are not really the best right now. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, they're leading the number 1 pick in the draft, I think. I could be wrong on that one. Anyways, because of that, I'm going to take the Miami Dolphins at home to win this over New Orleans. On the line, Miami's favored by 6 in this game. I'm going to take Miami minus 6. The New York Jets and the Atlanta Falcons. Now for this one, Atlanta, they're getting their communication skills coming back. They need to continue working on that and they'll win some football games. And I think they will do that against the New York Jets. I'm going to take the Atlanta Falcons over the New York Jets to win this game. On the line, Atlanta is favored by 2.5 point favorites in this game. I'm going to take Atlanta minus 2.5. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Arizona Cardinals. I will say this. They haven't ruled out Baker Mayfield yet. But if they do, I'm going to warn you right now, I might change my pick on this one. I don't know yet. This is like a maybe after today's decision. I have no idea. So we have to wait and see on that. So anyways, despite that in Tampa Bay, I'm going to take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers over Arizona to win this game, since they're not really doing much on Kyler Murray. But I will say this. Even if Baker Mayfield doesn't play, I may switch over to Arizona. I'm not too sure on that one. So they haven't made a decision yet on Baker Mayfield. And I don't think Mike Evans is coming back. They're starting to have an injury problem right now. So anything can happen. So as of right now, I'm going to pick Tampa Bay over Arizona. And on the line, Tampa Bay's favored by 3 in this game. And I will take Tampa Bay -3. But if all that changes, I probably will take Arizona on this one. So bear with me on that game, okay? The Carolina Panthers and the LA Rams. I will say this to Carolina. Defensively, they are playing well. Bryce Young is getting the support he has on defense. But if he has some weapons, in an offense, I think maybe a running back or something like that, I think this could be a solid football team in the future. So, I think you need to give Baker Mayfield some time, give him a weapon or two, and a good running game. I think they could be a solid football team right now. They got the offensive line, which even though he didn't have the best stats on that right now, but he has the Carolina Panthers on the heels right now. So, and he's getting the support in the locker room too on that one. So, and because of that, I think this could be not what the game is going to be what you think it is. But as for the LA Rams part, defensively they're getting being a solid team on that one. So, yeah, Matthew Stafford on an MVP level. Well, I think they're gonna do something on that one. But for the LA Rams case, this is the Carolina Panthers. This is a must win too to keep your playoff hopes alive. But I'm gonna take the LA Rams over the Carolina Panthers to win this game in Carolina. On the line, the LA Rams are favored by 10 in this game. That's too many points on that one. I think defensively this could be a good game. So I'm going to take Carolina plus 10.5. The Pittsburgh Steelers and the Buffalo Bills. Now for this game, Buffalo needs to win to keep their playoff hopes alive. Pittsburgh needs to win to keep their division hopes alive. This is a must-win situation for both teams. One of these teams has to win. So, anyways, that being said, with Buffalo losing last week, they're probably going to take their frustrations out on Pittsburgh. So I'm going to take Buffalo over Pittsburgh to win this game. On the line, Buffalo's favored by 3.5 in this game. I'm going to take Buffalo minus 3.5. The LA Chargers the LA Chargers and the Las Vegas Raiders. Now for this game, Las Vegas had some coaching problems. That's going to hurt them. For the LA Chargers, they're going to take that for granted. So, I'm going to take the LA Chargers over the Las Vegas Raiders in this game. In LA. On the line, though, the LA Chargers are 9.5-point favorites in this game. I'm going to take the LA Chargers minus 9.5. And for Sunday Night Football, we got the Washington Commanders and the Denver Broncos. The Washington Commanders, one of the disappointing teams this year. The Denver Broncos, one of the most surprising teams this year. So, to say that, I will say this is going to be a much needed win for Denver to keep being the top of the AFC and to keep away from Kansas City getting that division. So that being said, though, the Washington Commanders are probably going to have to get another draft pick or something like that. So, anyways, that being said, I'm going to take the Denver Broncos over the Washington Commanders to win this game in Washington. On the line, Denver's favored by 6.5-point favorites in this game. I'm going to take Denver minus 6.5. Over and under, it's 43.5. Despite the lack of Washington Commanders defense, I'm not really too trusting they can go reach that. So I'm going to go under 43.5 in this game. And for Monday Night Football, my New England Patriots and the New York Giants. This game, this is a much win for my Patriots. I know the loss of Will Campbell's going to hurt. But, it could be a lot worse for Will Campbell. So I'm grateful it wasn't for that. But But I will say from the fielding in Cincinnati, they need to upgrade their turf. I was saying this to my coworker about that. I mean, every year, I think every year or two, every stadium should upgrade their fielding. And I feel like Cincinnati hasn't done that in probably 15 years or so, or something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm not saying that. But anyways, the point is, we were thinking every fielding should have their upgrade on their turf every year or two. That's just me. But anyways, continuing on, they're playing the New York Giants. They're having some defensive coordinator issues. So that's going to take them for granted from my Patriots. So Drake May's going to have a field day with Stephon Diggs and probably Trayvon Henderson too in the running game. So this is going to be it could be a good one to watch. But they still need help on the defensive side of the field. So pretty much I would say more of the safety and free safety situation, which is more of a secondary part. And they got to stop, they got to not give up a lot of points in the first quarter. That's another issue. But anyways, that being said though, so I'm going to take my Patriots over the New York Giants to win this game in Gillette. So I'm going to take that. So on the line, my Patriots are 7.5 point favorites in this game. I'm going to take my Patriots minus 7.5. Over and under is 46.5. I'm going to go over 46.5 in this game. Okay, a good shout out this week is the Godfather himself, Gio Knows. Check him out and the rest of the NFL YouTube prognosticator page in the description down below right here. And while you're at it, check out this brick from Dr. Squatch. Check out this is one of their newer releases called the Sierra Storm right here. Not the best smelling one is, but the lather itself's not that bad. You know, this is like one of the good lather. You remember the good lather scents in there, but the Sierra Storm has a good lather to that. So yeah, this is a good sporty scent though. Really good for the spring and summertime, but it's really not a bad scent on that one. Well, it's a mix of fresh falls and a little bit of the snowy pine tar mix in it, I would say, to say the least, on that one. But this brick itself right here, really good lather. So, I would give this one a chance. If you smelled it, didn't really like it, but don't go for the scent. Go for the lather in this one. This is really good. So check out the Sierra Storm out right here. I have this in the link down below as well. Until then, this is Andrew Warren signing. Rock out, and eat your breakfast, and have a good, wonderful Thanksgiving out there.